Good evening. It's Monday, March 16th. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. It seems with each passing hour comes new information, new cases of coronavirus. And just a short time ago, county officials announced sweeping changes when it comes to public gathering sites. Let's begin our extensive coverage with health reporter Taryn Mento live in our newsroom. Taryn.
Maya, the county says the total coronavirus cases in San Diego is now 55. That's a jump from 39 yesterday. Officials also announced legally enforceable orders to help reduce new cases. That includes a ban on gatherings over 50 people, plus restrictions on bars and restaurants that you'll hear about later in the show. But Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says even more orders could come as the situation changes.
We could very rapidly be in a situation where we are back before you with much more severe, much more drastic, and much more restrictive actions. And as a public, we should prepare not only for the increase in number of cases, the increase in the significant impact of those cases.
Right now, testing is limited to only those who are seriously ill. The county can test 120 people a day. Officials say that'll increase over the next 2 weeks. Scripps Health also announced it can test 80 people a day, but that could increase to 500 by next week. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
Thanks so much, Taryn. And as Taryn mentioned, the county announced new restrictions on bars and restaurants. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman joins us live now with that part of the story. Matt?
Maya, the county is mandating that all bars, wineries, places that just serve alcohol, they must shut down. They must close their doors. That's in addition to their mandating that restaurants must stop. They need to cancel their dine-in services. Now, this coming as just yesterday, California Governor Gavin Newsom called for bars in the state to close. And we know here in San Diego, some business owners are already shutting their doors.
As of last night, we decided to close all 5 restaurants. Out of the safety of the community, out of the safety for our staff.
Chris Shaw is the owner of Urban Moe's in Hillcrest and 4 other restaurants and bars nearby.
We've been here for 29 years and never close.
Many eateries and bars in the Hillcrest area were not open Monday. Some restaurants were still serving while others were doing just takeout only. The Alibi was the only bar in the area that we could find open.
We tried our best to eliminate a lot of tables. We eliminated 50% of our bar stools. We did everything that we possibly could to keep the restaurant open and keep social distancing in effect. It was the guests that were coming in that were not abiding by those.
For Shaw, the real worry isn't so much the bottom line, but rather his employees.
We have 284 employees, so we employ a lot of people here in Hillcrest. And that's our biggest concern is the staff members.
Shaw is encouraging them to file for unemployment while he waits to see what the federal government might do.
We're just actually making this up as we're going because we've never experienced this.
Shaw says he has not heard anything from the county health department about precautions to take or what to do moving forward.
It would be nice if we were informed a little more.
Now, that owner is planning to close for up to 6 to 8 weeks if necessary. Back out here live in Kearney Mesa. Now, county officials say restaurants and bars that serve food can still do takeout, drive-through, or delivery orders. As you can see, a drive-through here. Now, that mandate to stop and close these dine-in services, to close bars, that goes into effect at midnight tonight, and it runs at least through the end of March. Now, this is just one of the many ways county officials are hoping to stop the spread of the virus here in San Diego. Maya, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Matt. SDG&E and the San Diego Foundation have started a relief fund for people affected by the coronavirus. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says they're taking donations.
Restaurants and shops across San Diego are closing to slow the virus's spread. Hotels are close to empty, and all that means thousands of workers could face reduced hours, even layoffs. Officials at the press conference announcing the relief fund made a point to stand 6 feet away from each other. That's part of the social distancing recommended by health officials. SDG&E and the San Diego Foundation started the relief fund with $1.3 million that will be spent on helping people access food, pay rent and utility bills, and cover lost wages. County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says the spirit of giving can be contagious too.
And so while so many folks are wondering, what is it I can do other than wash my hands? We want you to keep washing your hands. But we also want you to go to the website provided and make a donation if you are able to help your neighbor and your friend and those around you.
The money will be given out as grants to nonprofits helping those impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Nancy Sasaki is CEO of United Way of San Diego County, which will help distribute the grants.
Some will expand their food distribution. Others, like 211, will be a resource to direct people to appropriate services. And still others are exploring ways to address the myriad of other issues nonprofits and individuals are facing.
Fletcher says he'll be asking his colleagues on the County Board of Supervisors to make a donation of their own. You can donate to the Relief Fund by going to sdfoundation.org/COVID-19. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
It's day one of coronavirus school closures in San Diego County, and the districts are making sure students still have full stomachs while their school is closed. KPBS education reporter Joe Hong visited a San Diego Unified food distribution site.
Families lined up in their cars and in person outside Monroe Middle School today to pick up their meals.
Here for some lunch, I hope?
This is one of 8 sites where San Diego Unified is distributing food while schools are closed.
This is lunch for today. We're distributing lunch for each student, breakfast for tomorrow, and because of our great partnership with Feeding San Diego, we're able to distribute fresh vegetables as well.
About 60% of the more than 100,000 students in San Diego Unified Schools qualify for free or reduced price lunch. The district has partnered with the nonprofit Feeding San Diego to make sure these students have enough to eat while they're off school for at least the next 3 weeks as part of the effort to stem the spread of the coronavirus.
Many of these families are living right on the edge of poverty, and many of them have just received layoff notices, or they're not going to be working as many hours as they used to, and their children are at home, so they might have additional child care expenses. So for many of these families, closing the budget this month is going to be harder than it's ever been.
Families can pick up meals between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. every day. San Diego Unified expects to expand its meal distribution in the coming days. To see a full list of schools where you can pick up meals for your family, visit kpbs.org. Joe Hong, KPBS News.
So what do you do with the kids while they're home from school? Coming up, how KPBS is teaming up with San Diego Unified to help connect parents with educational programming. San Diego State University is taking extra steps to limit activity on campus. Rec centers, cultural centers are closed, and dining halls are limiting their capacity. Some employees are being put on paid leave as those age 65 and older are being told to stay home. A study abroad student tested positive for COVID-19 last week. Classes have already been moved online. The coronavirus is stoking fears on Wall Street that a recession could be on the horizon. Today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 2,997 points. The 13% decline is the worst percentage drop since Black Monday back in 1987. Stocks plummeted despite the Fed cutting its interest rates to 0 on Sunday night. To ward off a potential deadly outbreak of the coronavirus, senior care homes in San Diego County are tightening visitation rules. KPBS reporter Amita Sharma has more.
The supply truck rolling into the driveway of Belmont Village Senior Living had what CEO and founder Patricia Will wanted.
I'll tell you what, we're happy to see him.
The supplier, along with Belmont's caregivers, cleaners, nurses, and other essential workers, are the only people allowed at the senior care facility in Sabre Springs, and only after they're questioned about exposure to the virus and their temperature is taken. Belmont, along with other senior homes across San Diego County, has banned all other visits, including by family and friends, to protect residents from the coronavirus. Sanitation of rooms, tables, dining areas has also intensified.
I'm a mother and I'm a warrior. So if you ask me how worried I am, I'm worried all the time. Having said that, we are screening all of our workers. We're taking their temperature. We're screening them for symptoms.
Elderly people are by far the most vulnerable group to coronavirus, as evidenced by an outbreak at a senior facility in Washington state that killed 29 people. The worldwide death rate from coronavirus for people 80 or over is nearly 15%. Will said Belmont residents are applauding the new rules and are finding creative new ways to occupy their time, now that field trips and live music have been canceled. They're playing charades and doing distance artwork. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
The Northgate Gonzalez Market chain is extending its hours to help seniors shop for essentials. All 8 of the stores in San Diego County will open 1 hour early each day for senior citizens and disabled customers. Those customers will be able to shop from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Stores will be open to everyone else from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The military continues to add restrictions as more cases of the coronavirus are found among troops. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says expect long lines at bases.
Starting Monday morning, there were long lines outside of Naval Base San Diego. Guards asked people to show their ID without touching, part of new protocols which include asking a series of screening questions for visitors, including those arriving by plane. Sean Van Diver is founder of the Truman National Security Project and a former Navy emergency manager.
We're not going to see the bases shut down, but I think we may see the bases continue to adopt those best practices of, no contact. And if it continues to ratchet up, we may see, stricter protocols in place.
At Camp Pendleton, they closed one of the gates and reduced staffing to those deemed essential. Exercises are being canceled at bases around the country. The Naval Reserve has canceled drills. The Air Force Academy has sent cadets home.
The guidance is kind of the same guidance for anybody else, right? It's not special for the military. And in fact, the military is often better suited to deal with this illness in particular, as I understand it, because it affects mostly elderly and people with compromised immune systems. The military is generally strong and young.
Training is likely to slow down. The Pentagon is severely restricting travel, including changing of duty stations. Leave is now restricted to the local community. At least 10 troops have tested positive for the virus, including 2 Marines at Miramar and 2 sailors at Naval Base San Diego, including a sailor assigned to the USS Boxer. All are being quarantined, while those they came in contact with are checked for signs of COVID-19. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
Jury duty is yet another aspect of daily life that's changing as a result of COVID-19. The county's court system is telling anyone with a jury summons this week to stay home. Jurors currently assigned to a trial are being told to keep serving unless a judge says otherwise. Civil trials are being delayed for 1 month, but criminal trials are ongoing. A milestone today in the search for a coronavirus vaccine. The first shot of an experimental formula was given to a healthy volunteer in Seattle.
Going from not even knowing that this virus was out there, at which we then identified it as being a cause of infection in China in January, to having a vaccine that we can actually initiate a clinical trial in about 2 months is unprecedented.
The effort at Kaiser Permanente Washington Research Institute is one of several worldwide searching for protection against COVID-19. Another vaccine made by Inovio Pharmaceuticals here in San Diego is expected to begin its own safety study in the U.S., China, and South Korea just next month. Even these trials go well, a vaccine wouldn't be available for about 18 months. And we're following all the latest developments for you at kpbs.org. Click on the Tracking COVID-19 link on our homepage, and you'll be taken to a page with the latest school closures, event cancellations, and all of our recent reports. You can find that right now at kpbs.org. We're starting the week with more rain and a chance of snow in the mountains. How long the wet weather will last? Lauren Rainson has our forecast.
Good evening. We're still watching that slow-moving, and I mean slow-moving upper-level low-pressure system offshore, but that's been the conveyor belt for all of the rain and snow the Golden State's been seeing recently. For us at home in Southern California, we haven't necessarily been seeing too much in the way of rain just quite yet, but changes are right around the corner. Upon that upper low continuing to pull its way southward, that will also draw in more of that Pacific moisture in our direction. This is what the radar could possibly look like to take us into tonight. Past midnight, there will be periods of moderate to heavier downpour, San Diego and south. And sometimes visibility will be reduced very briefly. Into that Tuesday morning drive with a few spotty hit or miss showers lurking, and this is more or less going to be the trend over these next couple of days here. By Wednesday is when the overall rainfall coverage and intensity will ramp back up again. That upper level low will continue to slide its way east-southeastward. Let's talk how much rainfall amounts we are anticipating here. General amounts up to an inch or so. That does include us in the San Diego area. But remember, the more you increase in elevation toward the foothills and the mountains, that's where we're talking up to 2 inches of total rainfall now toward the end of the week. We'll get you past midnight with widespread lows in the 40s to the 50s and some more of those spotty hit or miss showers. Not only are we watching that upper level low offshore, there's this weakening surface low just to our north, and all these things are coming together to produce that wet, snowy weather across the state. Tomorrow with widespread temperatures in the 60s as what's left of that upper level low is making that push eastward late Wednesday night to Thursday. That's when we'll ultimately see the conditions quiet back down again. But you also notice the return of weekend rain showers on Saturday, temperatures in the 60s. Further inland, we are in store for a couple of wet days, more sunshine, a lot drier Thursday to Friday with highs in the lower 60s. We'll take you into the mountains with a bit of morning snow showers Wednesday. Sunshine will emerge Thursday to Friday. And into the desert, you'll also be finished at least temporarily with the rain after Wednesday. Another round will be back into Saturday. Reporting for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Lauren Rainson. Back to you.
A drastic measure to stop the spread of the coronavirus. People in the Bay Area are being told to shelter in place. The order was announced today in 6 counties, including the city of San Francisco. Starting tomorrow, nearly 7 million people must stay inside and only leave their homes for necessities. The order is expected to last for 3 weeks. Canada is closing its borders amid the coronavirus pandemic. Only Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and Americans will be allowed into the country. However, they will have to self-isolate for 14 days upon arrival. Here in the U.S., President Trump gave new guidelines for Americans to slow the spread of the virus. Nadia Romero has more.
All Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible. Avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
In New Jersey, curfew. In Miami, spring break canceled. Many schools canceled. Some cruise ships docked. More and more international flights grounded. Some breweries and wineries closed. As the number of coronavirus cases increases across the country, state and local governments are grappling to slow the virus.
You see a whole hodgepodge of efforts being taken across the country. This state is doing this state is doing this city is doing this. It's chaos.
On the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut teamed up on their coronavirus response.
We are in this together, and we're in it together not as towns and cities and states, but now increasingly as a region.
It's important for the young and healthy people to understand that while they may experience milder symptoms, they can easily spread this virus.
Nadia Romero, KPBS News.
With students home from school because of the pandemic we face, many new challenges arise. Among them, how will students keep up their education? A new collaboration between KPBS and San Diego educators aims to open up a new option for K-12 at-home learning.
PBS has long been a source for educational entertainment. Now your local station will continue to keep children engaged while schools remain closed. The initiative is called At Home Learning, where children matter. The goal is to serve more than 500,000 students with access to free educational resources and grade-appropriate lesson plans.
This is San Diego truly at its finest.
Cindy Martin is superintendent for the San Diego Unified School District, who collaborated on the project.
This is not vacation. This is time to continue learning, and there's a time to learn independently and a time to learn in support of your teacher. And we know that parents are not replacing the role of the teacher, but they will create structured, guided activities for kids to show what they know. Our kids are brilliant and our teachers are invested, and we want learning to continue.
For 60 years, we have been America's classroom across all geographic boundaries, races, and income levels. Answering the call to ensure that our TK through 12th grade young people have access to learning while at home during this unprecedented time is critical to our mission, and we are honored to be of service because at KPBS, children matter.
Students can tune in according to a schedule designed by their grade level, as well as access to an online library. Grades pre-K through 3rd grade can watch content from 6 to 8 a.m. Grade 4 through 8 content will be broadcast from 8 to 1 p.m. and high school content will be up from 1 to 6 p.m.
And students don't need to have a computer or internet access to the free content. They can tune in to KPBS2 with an antenna at the channels on your screen. PBS programming is also available on demand through the PBS Video app, PBS Kids app, and at video.kpbs.org. It will be even longer before national sports return to normal. Major League Baseball is extending its delay to mid-May. The season was originally scheduled to begin next week, including the Padres' home opener at Petco Park. Baseball's commissioner says he's following guidance from the CDC that calls for restricting events of more than 50 people for the next 8 weeks. Amazon says customers could experience shipping delays because of a surge in shopping sparked by the coronavirus. Amazon adds that it's out of stock in some popular items, especially household staples. The company says it's working to fight price gouging sellers. It pulled more than 1 million products earlier this month for that reason and for false advertising.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, a new reality amid widespread closings, the market plunge, and the spread of COVID-19. Americans adjust to drastic limits on daily life. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The Sweetwater Union High School District is proposing to eliminate a key alternative education program as part of its effort to close a $30 million budget deficit. KPBS education reporter Joe Hong spoke to students and teachers about how the move could hurt the most at-risk students.
Michi Ramos Hagel is a student at Olympian High School in Chula Vista, but she's able to take music classes at Southwestern College thanks to her school's Learning Center, an alternative education program for students who don't fit in traditional classrooms.
Honestly, I love school, but I could not stay awake because it was like I could not with the depression and everything. And I would go to the bathrooms and I would cry and I was self-harming and I got dizzy very often, a lot of chronic migraines, and as well with the fibromyalgia. You know, going those distances, it's not easy.
Learning centers can accommodate students like Michi who have struggled to find the right learning environment.
It was a journey, really, a very, very tough journey. I felt that I had to educate each teacher in each grade and explain to that teacher how my daughter was.
Learning centers currently serve 1,300 students who need to make up credits to graduate. Many of these students struggle with social anxiety and mental illness. Some have learning disabilities. Others have issues at home, so they need more flexible schedules. Learning centers are kind of a mix of independent study and the traditional classroom. Students are required to be on campus just a couple hours a day. They can have quiet study time and get one-on-one help on homework, or they can enroll in music classes.
In the moment when you're up there and you're about to sing, all of that kind of melts away. And it's that moment where anxiety doesn't even exist.
Who is this going to affect? Vulnerable students.
But at last month's school board meeting, to a different tune, the Sweetwater School Board approved laying off all 32 teachers and the 12 counselors at the district's learning centers. In total, the district approved layoffs for almost 240 employees.
And we're not going to take it, and we're not going to stand for it, damn it.
Spokesman Manny Rubio said the district is still figuring out what will happen to the learning centers. In the week since the approved cuts, the district has proposed moving learning center students to independent study. But learning center teachers say independent study is not a substitute for the program and that cutting the learning centers will hit vulnerable students the hardest.
It goes back to the word hope. I can't tell you how many kids come in here and they've lost hope. They thought, hey, I'm 22 credits behind. I'm never going to graduate. I don't know what I'm going to do. We catch a significant amount of those kids. The district also has independent study. They have Palomar and they have options. Those catch a smaller percentage, right? But and I'll show you the numbers on that, we're the biggest percentage that they have.
According to data provided by Moore, learning centers currently serve more than 3 times as many students as independent study. And there's more students for every teacher in the learning centers. According to Moore, this makes learning centers the district's most cost-effective alternative education program. In fact, Michi only started at the learning centers after being unsuccessful in independent study.
It did not work. I mean, they're very vague. The instructions are like no instructions at all. And they give you a stack of paper. And then you go and you see the teacher that you're supposed to see, that turn in the work or supposedly ask questions, and they don't know any of it. They're like, oh, I haven't done that in like forever. Sorry, I don't know.
While Mitchie worries about having to go back to independent study next year, Alexandra Lipsack, a student at Sweetwater High's Learning Center, said the news of the proposed cuts might derail her college plans.
I cried because my academic life has been all over the place since elementary school.
Lipsack struggled with depression and anxiety for most of her life. She's set to graduate in October, something she never could have imagined just a few years ago. But the Learning Center has helped her visualize an academic future.
After I graduate, I plan to go to a community college, to go to a university, and pursue my career.
Do you know what career?
Clinical and forensic psychology. I want to make my PhD.
Now she feels like the rug has been pulled out from under her.
You know, I'm gonna have to go to like Job Corps or adult school. I don't want to do that, you know, not when they're. Sorry.
The Sweetwater Union High School District has until May 15th to make final decisions about the cuts. Joe Hong, KPBS News.
An update now on our top story. Moments ago, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer announced some new executive orders, among them closing all bars and nightclubs, even with St. Patrick's Day celebrations tomorrow. Now, this move is similar to the county order we told you about earlier. The new restrictions will take effect at midnight to help minimize the spread. That includes a ban on all public gatherings of 50 or more people. Bars will be ordered to close, and all restaurants will not be allowed to have dine-in guests. County health officials say the number of local cases has increased to 55. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.